We're going to bring up Kevin, our keynote speaker. We're going to try to keep it brief tonight because it's running a little over time. But we're also going to ask everybody in the audience, and tomorrow we'll be asking everyone online in cyberspace to be voting for black level, peak light output, color accuracy, general overview, picture quality. So what we're going to do is have Kevin do a brief presentation of what he's done here, what ISF does. We're going to bring Ed Johnson up to talk about what delivers the best black level, and what are we generating when we generate black, and what are we generating when we generate pure white. So I don't want to talk too much about all that stuff, but I think we're ready to bring Kevin up if he's ready.
I'm right here.
Okay,
I'm ready.
Terrific.
Speaking of black, that's what's on the screen right now.
Okay.
We'll get some video up there. I'm going to stay off
Can we get
center.
the ballots out now? Or?
Yeah, please do. Hand everybody out the ballots.
Okay.
Let me get back to some video here.
Do you want lights off? Or?
Yeah, definitely the front part. So yeah, for now we'll go on and off with the back because we need to look at picture quality really carefully. I'm joined by some real talented calibrators here, having spent several days and many hours calibrating all 8 of the sets up here and making them absolutely perform to their optimum capability. We're going to show you that as we go through different test patterns so that you and everybody that's watching on AVS Forum can see that we put all these panels on a level playing field. We're not skewing anything to look better or worse than anything else. Black level's been set correctly on all of them. White level has been set to match. Our night modes are set up at 35-foot Lambert's peak light output.
When possible.
When possible. There are a couple, an exception, I should say, to that, just because of a panel that was not capable of reaching that light output. We've also gone in and worked with color management systems where possible to get the colorimetry or the color space as close to Rec 709, which is the high-def standard for primary and secondary color accuracy. And so rather than feeding you the results and saying this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, etc., 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 we wanted the audience to actually participate and be a part of it. So we're going to go through a number of different test patterns that relate to the 4 most important picture elements that the human eye sees, and I'll explain those in a second. And as we go through each test pattern, we're going to ask you guys to rate each TV in that specific parameter. One thing to keep in mind is with LCD we have off-angle viewing issues both vertically and horizontally. That's the reason why all of the LCD panels were actually on the bottom row, because your heads are pretty close to the center of the screens with them down here as opposed to being up top. And we angled out the side ones a little bit, but I know it's very crowded in here. We're going to need you to move around a little bit. Take a look at the center of each LCD screen when you're looking at any parameter, whether it's black, color, anything, because as you go off to the left or the right on an LCD panel, things tend to get washed out looking and they're not correct. You're not seeing the picture correctly. Plasmas do not suffer from that, so you don't have to worry about the plasmas in that regard, but I got to encourage you to do that, otherwise you're going to be voting incorrectly. Afterwards, Robert and his team are going to give you our test results, and they're quite extensive, several pages of data, white, black level, contrast ratio, color accuracy, all of those items. You're going to have that information afterwards. It'll also be posted up, I think, on valueelectronics.com. We're going to post it up on tweaktv.com for all of our readers as well. So with that, I think we'll get started. Back to the 4 most important elements of a picture to the human eye. SEPTI did a pretty exhaustive study some years ago to determine what those were. The first 4 in descending order. You're probably not surprised now because there's a major spec war in the industry on contrast ratio. That's number 1. You see all sorts of wild numbers out there, including, I mean, we're in the millions to 1 now, and approaching, I don't know if anybody's actually printing infinite yet, but they will. It'll be here sooner or later. That's number one. So what's contrast ratio? Simply put, it's dynamic range in video. It's how black can you be and how bright. So really, I think black level performance is probably the single most important factor in determining a contrast ratio. How black can you be? How black can this panel go? How far down can it go? So that's number one. Number two is the amount of color or color saturation in the picture, which is determined by accurate color decoding. If you have accurate color decoding, you will have a very well saturated picture. If you don't, and you're setting it up, you'll be forced to desaturate the picture in order to get things to look natural. Number three is colorimetry or color accuracy, which actually encompasses several different things. Color decoding accuracy, number one. Grayscale tracking capability, the actual color of gray and its accuracy, which is extremely important. And primary and secondary color accuracy. Primary colors being red, green, and blue. Secondary being cyan, magenta, and yellow. Grayscale, extremely important. We'll demonstrate this again. The way pictures are made starts with black and white, starts with gray. If there's any kind of skew towards red or green or blue on the grayscale, that will come through in the color picture also. Skin tones will reflect it. You see green in somebody's face. So the color of the black and white is where we start. Extremely important. That's one of the big things that us calibrators are out there doing, is calibrating the grayscale. And number four is resolution. Of course, all the panels are 1080p resolution. That's the de facto standard today when you're talking about high resolution HDTV. What we'll show you is how it handles actually broadcast high def, 1080i material specifically. We'll put up some test patterns because that's what you're looking at when you're looking at cable. Predominantly it's 1080i. There are some 720p broadcasts out there, of course. How does it de-interlace 1080i? Does it do a good job? Do you get all the resolution on the screen on your TV, on a particular TV? There's a couple of different test patterns that we'll show you when we get to that so that you can rate that as well. So with that, I'd say let's get our AVS disc in there and we'll start going. We'll start 1, 2, 3, 4. Start with contrast ratio. Actually, why don't we look at video black real quick while he's queuing up that disc. Thank you. And there's a little bit, I guess, still a little bit of light outside, but you'll get I think you'll get a good idea.
Did you want to hand out any flashlights, Robert, or I don't want to?
For their scorecards?
So they can write on the scorecards, or?
Yeah, I think we should do that.
What we have now is we have, give it a minute for all the TVs to kick in. I've just switched to a Sencor VP 403 generator at 0% or video black. And take a look around the room and you'll see that black is not all created equal.
One thing about Kevin, the signal that you're sending, what format is it in? RGB?
Yeah, it is actually.
Okay. The Curro is set to 422.
So that's why it's looking like that?
That's why it's looking
Then
great.
you know what, we'll do this again. Let's do this again with the AVS disc instead.
Yeah, let's put that